Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Horsemen Hangout. My name is Rue. As you can see, the normal host, Justin, is not here today. We have with us Mr. Stephen Page. Everybody's MIA today. We're missing Mr. Zorzi. He is out of commission. We are missing Mr. Lane. He is, I don't know where the hell he's at. We're missing Mr. Hinkle, Big Josh Hinkle, no idea where he's at, but we do have myself and Stephen Page. Stephen Page, how the hell are you on this Tuesday night?
I am doing well.
Good to see you, Stephen Page. It's been a while. I feel like it's been forever since I was on this show. It feels like it's been at least over a month or so.
Yeah, you said your report that I didn't get along with. Yeah.
Then what? Well, I don't know. Sometimes Tony Malibu has to step in and make comments, but I don't know. I saw that episode. I don't know who let Tony Malibu on the show, but I don't know. Anyway, Steven, we're gonna have a real loose show today. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's more of an open forum, a shoot on whatever you want. This is the shoot night. We can talk about whatever the hell we want. We could shoot on whatever the hell we want in the wrestling world, in the sports world, in the movie world, in the internet world, whatever. Hopefully, as we are moving along, we have some new panelists that join us, because I'll tweet out the link and tell people to join us. But if not, it'll just be myself and Stephen Page shooting the proverbial shit today. So I guess we can start off with last night's Raw. I have to be honest, and this might go along with my commentary for the evening. I fell asleep, I believe, top of the last hour. I just fell asleep at 10 o'clock. I zonked out. I think I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, had a snack, watched something else, probably took a crap, then went to bed. So I didn't even check the DVR. Steven, can you fill me in? Did anything noteworthy happen on Raw last night? And if so, shoot on it. Tell me what you thought of it.
So we had the main event. It was the just no disqualification match. And basically, Roman Reigns came out and did Roman Reigns, and then Bray Wyatt came out, of all people, and attacked Roman Reigns.
So Bray Wyatt.
Sorry, we had the what the hell's their name right now? The Authority, sorry, of Kane, and we had, I think, Noble was in on it. Maybe he wasn't because he's hurt, but I don't know. They came out, and I can't remember exactly who was in the group, but they took out Roman Reigns, put him through a table, and then Bray Wyatt came in and picked up the bones, as they say, and gave him the Sister Abigail, and that was the end of Raw. He dropped down to his knees and said, follow the buzzards. Whatever the hell that.
Yeah. I guess they're setting up some more heat with Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. I don't know. I think it's missing something. I just don't know what. What's the main event for Battleground? That's Lesnar and Seth, right?
Yeah.
Lesnar and Seth. Okay, I can't see the title changing hands at Battleground.
Then we have Cena and Owens.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Bray and Roman have been officially announced, but that's what it's leaning towards.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel that it's a little bit of a tired product. I don't like anything that Brock Lesnar has his hands on. I mean, they did make him look kind of lame last week. Not this past Monday, but the week before, when I flicked it on and I saw like Mercury and Noble beating him down, and he was selling for Mercury and Noble. Man, it just the visual of it, like Noble and Mercury are so much smaller than Brock Lesnar. Brock in a real fight could probably take them both on, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're building towards. I honestly, at this point, I don't even care. I get more enjoyment, Steven, out of like watching old stuff on the network. Like I'll watch old pay-per-views or old Nitros or old Raws from the Attitude Era, or old. I was watching even some old pay-per-views from our Saturday Night's Main Event, or just something. It's like I don't get. Like you and I both watched Raw. At least I attempted. I fell the freak to sleep. I couldn't keep my eyes open. But I watch it not because I was excited, but because It's Monday night, and for the past 20 years, however many years Raw has been on, that's basically a tradition. So it's almost like a force of habit to watch it. But it's just not the same anymore. I just think it friggin' sucks, honestly. And I don't think I ever asked you point blank, Steven, if you were Triple H or whoever the hell is the head of creative or whatever, what would you do to change Monday Night Raw specifically? I'm not even worried about SmackDown. Let's just focus on 3 hours on Monday nights that everybody bitches about. What would you do to make it a better show? Because I think I have an idea, but I want to hear what you think first. If you had fantasy booking rights to do it, what would you do?
I had the book for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And I had authority to do anything right now, it would be move Raw to back to 2 hours. That is the main thing that needs to happen. And I know they make more money being 3 hours, but they just don't have that roster like they used to. I mean, you think 2 hours during the Attitude Era, and yeah, I know they went over about 15 minutes here or there, and most of the time they went over. But during the Attitude Era, they had Austin, they had Rock, they had Triple H, they had Foley, they had all these guys, Jericho, they had the, tag team division, all those guys. It wasn't 3 hours, and it left you wanting a little bit more back then. Now it's like, 3 hours. I don't know. Luckily, I have a thing that I go to on Monday nights that kind of takes me. I can come home and watch it off the DVR, which the commercials kind of suck.
Yeah, yeah. But it's 3 hours of boring. I mean, there's always maybe 1 or 2 segments or a match that were memorable out of the 3 hours. But for the most part, every 3-hour episode of Raw sucks. I think it is 3 hours, and I think you're right, and I would do the same thing. I cut it back to 2 hours. But one thing is that, I think if the show was good, I don't think we'd be dreading watching 3 hours. You know what I mean? If it was 3 hours of good shit, I don't think that we would be complaining. You know what I mean? It's not like we complain, it's 3 hours. Who the hell wants to sit there for 3 hours? Well, if it was 3 hours of good, entertaining TV with a good blend of storylines and wrestling and not just boring, cold shit one after another, I think maybe 3 hours could be doable. But the first thing I would do, I agree, cut it back to 2 hours. The second thing I would do is this is something that's very important, I think, with keeping people's attentions. I think there should be I'm all for good matches, and I don't want to see shitty matches, and I don't want to see, Kurgan against friggin' the Truth whatever. I don't want to see shitty matches. I'm all for good matches, don't get me wrong. Some people think, you're just, Vince Russo guy, and you don't care about matches. If I was booking the show, you better believe that the matches would be very damn good. With that saying, I think what's missing, Steven, is there's a narrative throughout the show that's missing that they always had during the 2-hour Raws, at least during the Attitude Era, maybe up until 2003, where it was there was a story that started in segment 1 and it carried and built and built and built and built, and then there was the payoff in the last segment or the overrun. There was always something, and they gave you little snippets of that story, maybe a backstage and a backstage here. And they give you backstage today, but it just seems so shitty and disjointed and fake and just back then. And I'm not even going to Steven, I know you've given me shit before, and rightfully so, that I'm a big Russo fan, and I like Russo, but this has really nothing to do with Russo because they used to do this style after Russo left, which was basically set the table for the night and have little pre-tapes throughout the night building and building. Now it's just so boring. The pre-tapes that they have are so disjointed. Okay, let's go to the Authority in the back, and this happened. And now let's go to Lana in the back, and this happened. It's nothing. I should put it this way, Steve. Nothing flows. If it were a real TV, I feel like Raw should be looked at as sort of a Breaking Bad type show, whereas the storyline should flow throughout the whole show, and you should have a cliffhanger ending, and it should make sense. In between the story, you should have good matches. You should have solid matches. You shouldn't have shit matches because wrestling is still on the marquee and it is still wrestling. So you can't abandon the wrestling. But the story I just can't. And maybe like, what do you think? Do you think a lot of this has to do with I know we probably talked about this before, but when you're writing compelling television, I can't think of one compelling television show, whether it's like True Detective or Breaking Bad or Mad Men or one of those good ass dramas that everybody loves and everybody tries to. Everybody tells me, watch True Detective, watch Mad Men, watch all this shit. I watched Breaking Bad, I loved it, but none of those shows are PG. They're all on either HBO or A&E later in the evening, and they're all adult themed shows. Do you think that's a problem, Steve? Do you think that they need to go back to TV 14 or at least get away from the kiddie shit?
Nah, I don't think they necessarily need to do that. I think that, like you said, they have to have compelling storylines to keep people interested, and they just don't have that. And it's like, I don't know, WWE is stuck in this, and they're moving away from John Cena being the focal point. He's got his feud with Kevin Owens going on,
Right.
but they're not trying to make that next big star either. I think they're trying to make us think that Roman Reigns might be that, but who the hell wants to watch Roman Reigns? Seriously. He
Yeah.
can't cut a good promo to save his life.
Yeah.
Even
Well, I
if
mean,
you're
I think he's a decent wrestler, but in terms of character and a lot of that, I feel like is like they don't give me a reason to care about Roman Reigns. Like back in like the day, like I'll give you a perfect example, like somebody like I don't know, maybe when Chris Jericho first came into WWE or Bob Holly or Crash Holly, they're like mid card guys, upper mid card guys, but they were given compelling storylines. Like even John Cena, I think the main reason why people shit on John Cena isn't because they disrespect him or think of him, because he works his butt off and everything, but I think the main reason is because his character is so freaking tired and boring. Like he doesn't do. There's no dimensions of the character. There's no mankind style storylines. And even Mick Foley was on top to compare Mick with John Cena. Like Mick Foley had so much layers to his character, and his characters were split three different ways, and they all had good stories and different pre-tapes, and everything was different about him. Like, yeah, John Cena sells cheap T-shirts, and he's still over, but to the casual fan and to someone who's been watching for the past 30 years, he doesn't really. When was the last good John Cena storyline, Steven? Do you remember like a fun angle that he was? I mean, other than I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you like the Rusev angle. I don't remember, but I didn't like it at all. So
I mean, I try to like everything. I try to be that good fan that likes everything, and I find good in some things, but I don't know. I tried liking the Rusev thing. I wanted, but it's like every time you get into it, just that little bit, John's gonna beat him, and
yeah,
that it's not gonna go anywhere.
right, right. I mean, I think a part of it, and then going back to the dialogue part, I think a lot of the problem has to do with dialogue. I think back in the Attitude Era and back in the old days in the 80s, and when we started watching with Hogan and Piper and Savage and Jake, a lot of the dialogue wasn't scripted. Now every word is scripted out of their mouths. And not only is every word scripted out of their mouths, it's unrealistic. So when two 26-year-old guys get mad at each other, look how a real 26-year-old dude talks when he is angry at another 26-year-old dude. That's not the way that the wrestlers talk on TV. It's not the way they're scripted. It's not the way the divas get mad. When two girls get aggravated with each other, they just go off, and it just seems so fake and scripted. And back in the old days, it really didn't seem so like. I don't think I'm getting jaded because back in the old days, in the 80s and the Attitude Era, when two characters hated each other, it seemed more realistic. That's just my opinion. It just seemed like, who's the black girl? the Funkadactyl. What's her name? Nadine or what's her whatever hell her name is. I don't know. Like she's just like
I
she is. Yeah, she's horrible, man. Like she's horrible. Like I see her backstage doing stuff, and like she's just so. It just doesn't seem real. Like they don't seem. And I think maybe it's like a lot of the characters, a lot of the wrestlers don't have the balls to go against the grain. And like CM Punk used to, he told stories about how he knew his character so well. I mean, CM Punk was CM Punk way before WWE, and writers who would write for him would hand him a script. This might be a douchey thing, but he said he used to tear it up right in their face because not to be an asshole, but because it didn't sound like something he would say. And I don't think there's anybody, any young kid today, with the balls to do that and go into business for themselves and cut a promo like a Piper would or a Jake the Snake Roberts would. Partly because everyone's afraid for their spot in their job, and if they do that, they're going to get in trouble. There's nowhere else to work. But I honestly think the main problem, and this is the one of the biggest problems, is I think it's way too scripted. And it sounds funny because wrestling is entertainment, but there's way too much stuff scripted. It's too micromanaged. Even during like WCW, during like watch some of the early Nitros, which I gotta admit some of them really sucked. Even in 95, 96. Even the ones around the NWO time, which the NWO angle was fun, but a lot of the stuff really sucked. It really was. But even with that, it was more improv, and I think that's the problem. But I don't
yeah,
know.
the NWO thing. I think that. I mean, I think it was good when Hogan and Nash and Hall and Nash were doing that run-in angle where, the story's been told over and over again. People thought, legit that Hall and Nash worked for WWE, and
Yeah.
it's like you thought they were going down there to kill WCW. You believed that.
When you
And
watch, Steven, did you watch that live, or did you watch it like in '96 when Hall invaded and Nash invaded? Did you watch it live?
I don't remember honestly.
Okay.
I don't think I watched. I don't remember really watching wrestling on a regular. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't really remember watching wrestling on a Monday night basis till about the late '90s. The
Yeah.
Attitude Era. Every
Right.
Monday I had to watch.
Right.
It was, wasn't. I love wrestling. I always have watched wrestling, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I had those parents that let me stay up, but if I was tired, I went to bed.
I
Because
hear
I
you. Because
wanted to
the
go to.
reason I asked that is I always wanted to talk to a wrestling fan who was around in '96 and watched it and actually bought that Razor Ramon and Diesel were taking over. WWF was taking over WCW because when I did watch it live and I kind of was smartened up. Like there was a we used to have America Online back then, believe it or not, and on America Online there was they used to do interviews with the wrestlers on the WWF AOL page. This was like even before the website. And I remember reading an interview with Nash and Razor Ramon on WWE's AOL page, and where they admitted that they left WCW. And I'm sure it was reported somewhere else, but I had known about a month before that they were leaving. So I was smartened up to it. So when I saw it, I knew that they were legitimately gone. So I never felt that way. But the reason I asked, like I said, I want to find somebody who wasn't smartened up to the fact that Razor and Diesel left and actually thought that WWF was invading, because I knew they weren't. I mean, I mean, if you had some sort of a knowledge, you knew that the guys that were showing up, 1-2-3 Kid, Ted DiBiase, Virgil after that, Hogan was the third man. These are all guys that are obviously not working for WWF. But I always was intrigued by that, to find somebody that thought. I mean, I'm sure if you were a kid, like I was in '96, I was about 15 years old, I think, 15 or yeah, about 15. So I wasn't that young, but
In '84, so I was about 12.
yeah, yeah. So, but Anyway, you gonna watch this? You gonna watch this Japan show? The WWE start. I think it starts at 5:30 a.m. on the network. This Japan, this Tokyo Dome show. I think Brock Lesnar fights Kofi Kingston live from Japan.
Is that who he's fighting?
Yeah,
Really?
I just found that
Seriously?
out yesterday. He's fighting. They didn't even advertise. They released that, but they didn't really advertise for it because everybody knows Brock's gonna kill Kofi Kingston. But that's who he's
So it
fighting.
feels, I guess, NXT doesn't really, have to bleed like a storyline per se, but why that match?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess they just wanted to feed him a mid card babyface or something, or not a mid card babyface because Brock technically is now being booked as that, and Kofi's a New Day. So they just wanted a mid card for him. Honestly, that's kind of a dumb move, don't you think? Because if Brock is only allowed to wrestle per his contract a few select dates, wouldn't you want him to? And it doesn't matter. It's not like he can. It's not like okay, Brock's
So
wrestling in Japan, so he only has to fight. He can fight whoever the hell you want him to fight. So wouldn't you want him to fight somebody like Rusev or somebody big? Like I don't know. If you have it, if he's only fighting like 4 times a year, I
I
mean,
could even take, I could even take somebody from NXT, put somebody in there that not many people know and say, oh, he's
yeah,
fighting Brock Lesnar. I have to watch this, I got
yeah,
to see this guy is they're putting in there. I mean, we see Kofi Kingston every week. Everybody sees him. If you are a wrestling fan, you know who Kofi Kingston is. You know what he's done. So I don't see what Brock Lesnar beating Kofi Kingston does for Kofi Kingston.
I think they're missing the boat with this because I think it's really cool that they're going live from Japan, and that's a big draw to me. And I think they could have really got some more subscribers, not just here, but around the globe, especially in Japan, if they maybe pumped up like Lesnar versus Rusev, exclusively on the network from Japan, or Lesnar versus. And I think you're right, though. I think it would have fit if it was an NXT guy, so they wouldn't have to build it up and
Maybe
just. They would just say, okay, Lesnar versus who's a heel that they could have used from NXT? Maybe like I don't want to say Owens because giving that away too early, I'm sure that'll happen, but that might expose Owens a little bit.
so.
God, I can't even think of anybody from NXT a heel. Who's a heel from NXT that he could fight?
Kofi was the last minute replacement for maybe they were gonna have one of the Sami Zayn or Hideo Itami face him.
That would have been
You know,
pretty big. Yeah, to have a Tommy versus Brock, and they would have had. Well, I guess a Tommy. Yeah, yeah, they're pushing Brock as more of a baby face now, and it's weird hearing like Paul Heyman being like shadow, like tore up on TV by heels. At least that's what I caught. Um, so he's gonna be act like a heel, but booked as a baby face, I think. So it's weird to see him fed heels, which leads me to think. I don't know. My opinion. What month is it? It is almost July. So I would say it's SummerSlam or Mania. He's going to be the big baby face to win the title. I'm leaning towards Mania. I kind of think he's going to win the Rumble and win it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Um, you think you'll wait, Steven? Are you going to wake up at 5:30 and watch that Tokyo show on the 4th of July?
if I wake up, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna, it's nothing. I have to wake up and
Yeah, because I mean, say you get up at like 9 o'clock. What the hell's the difference? You can just click it on and rewind, right? So no point in that. But all right, what else is going on? Oh yeah, TNA is going to go out of business, and Jeff Jarrett joined, and he is won the King of the Mountain match at Slammiversary, their pay-per-view on Sunday. And from everything that I hear, I think that and we lost Steve. Stephen Page, where the hell are you? Stephen Page, what the hell happened? This is dead air. Stephen Page. All right, well, Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we'll be back in a bit. If not, have a good evening.